Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of The Sauce. Continuing on with college football week 7. College football's been killing me this year. We need that to turn around stat. This is an awesome weekend, though. A lot of huge games, including this one. Red River Rivalry here. Texas, Oklahoma at the Cotton Bowl. Let's go.
Welcome to The Sauce. The Sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
All right, Texas, Oklahoma. Sooners catching 14.5 points in this one. Total sitting at pretty much 49.5 across the board here. Let's take a quick look at the pie charts, and according to this data, everyone is on the Longhorns. Over 75% of the tickets, over 75% of the money on Texas. But as I always say, take this data with a grain of salt. So let's get into this matchup. Here's some head-to-head history. Oklahoma has taken 5 of the last 6. They're also 4-2 against the spread in the last 6. So Oklahoma has been the more profitable bet in this rivalry recently. But honestly, who cares? We're talking about this year's matchup only, and we'll start with the Texas offense. Pretty balanced, as we know. One of the best teams in the country, let alone one of the best offenses. 5th in OFEI, elite passing numbers, solid rushing numbers too. They're 9th in the country in yards per play, 10th in success rate, 9th in PPA. Passing numbers 8th, 7th, 9th. Rushing numbers not quite as elite, but still solid numbers on the ground as well. Quinn Ewers numbers on the year: 691 yards, 8.7 yards per attempt, 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, A+ turnover-worthy play rate. He's protected the football well. In the games Quinn Ewers has played, Texas is averaging over 342 passing yards per game, 53.8% success rate per dropback, 10.3 yards per attempt. Those are some pretty elite passing numbers there. Now, to be fair, Texas passing numbers look pretty elite with Arch Manning in there as well. I mean, they're a small step down. So this Texas passing attack is pretty elite with Quinn Ewers or with Arch Manning. But specifically in the games that Ewers played, it was about as good as it gets in college football. Now, they should have their hands full in this one. This Oklahoma defense is very good, although the pass defense has looked a little shaky last couple of games. First 3 games, elite numbers here, just 6.53 yards per attempt allowed, 187 passing yards per game allowed, 41.4% success rate per dropback. Last 2 games against Auburn and Tennessee, they're allowing 9.9 yards per pass attempt, 40.5% success rate per dropback. So, I mean, the success rate is about the same. In fact, it's a little better. 9.9 yards per attempt is a little bit concerning. Tennessee, okay, Nico can make some big plays, but Auburn shouldn't be allowing 9.9 yards per attempt to the likes of Auburn, especially now because you got to play Quinn Ewers in this high-powered Texas passing attack. Here are Oklahoma's defensive numbers on the season, and you could see at the bottom those last 2 games kind of skewing the pass defense numbers here for Oklahoma. 83rd in the country in yards per pass attempt allowed, 85th in success rate per dropback, still sitting at 11th in DFEI, and that's because this defensive front 7 is really good. I mean, look at their run defense numbers: 8th in yards per carry allowed, 6th in success rate, 6th in effective rush. Oklahoma's played a pretty tough schedule so far this year, so to be sitting at 8th in the country in yards per carry allowed, 6th in success rate against the run, it's really impressive. This is a very good run defense. Also, they have a pass rush. If you look at the right side of this graphic, 7th in sack rate, 39th in pressure rate. Problem is, Texas offensive line has been elite in terms of pass protection, one of the best in college football. In fact, I'd probably put them in the conversation with Georgia and LSU in terms of the best pass protection in college football. So even though Oklahoma's pass rush has been good, not sure how effective it's going to be here against this Texas offensive line. And to make matters even worse, Quinn Ewers has handled pressure really well. I mean, he's been great when pressured so far this year. So I think Texas is equipped to take Oklahoma's pass rush out of the game. But look at the left side of this Texas offensive line graphic. Not creating a ton of space in the run game. And when we were looking at Texas offensive stats before, passing numbers looked elite. Rushing numbers, not so much. On the season, the rushing numbers look pretty good. They are averaging 5 yards per carry, 51.6% success rate. These are solid numbers. But if you look at their schedule, I mean, Michigan's really the only respectable run defense they've seen. Colorado State is okay, I guess. I mean, UTSA looks bad. Louisiana Monroe actually having a good season, but I mean, not in the same conversation as these SEC schools. Mississippi State is terrible defensively. So, I mean, they've really only seen one legitimate defense in terms of stopping the run. And I'd argue that even Michigan is not on Oklahoma's level in terms of stopping the run. I mean, Oklahoma has one of the best run defenses in college football. 2.64 yards per carry allowed, just 105.6 rushing yards per game allowed. And like I said, it's not like they've played nobody. I mean, Houston's offense sucks. Tulane's got a decent offense. Tennessee at Auburn. I mean, they've played some teams. It's not like they've been playing nobody. This Oklahoma defensive front seven is very good, and I actually think they are equipped to take the run away from Texas. The struggle for Oklahoma is, can they stop Quinn Ewers and the passing attack? That's going to be the problem for Oklahoma, but I think taking away the run should help with that. But now we get to the other side of the ball and take a look at the Oklahoma offense, and I mean, it's bad. 115th in the country in yards per play, 127th in success rate, 120th in PPA. I mean, they're still sitting at 45th in OFEI, 25th in effective rush, and if you're wondering how that's possible, they've kind of been through the gauntlet in terms of defenses they've seen. Yeah, Houston's offense is terrible, and we're not going to give Oklahoma's defense any credit for shutting down the Houston offense, but the Houston defense is good. Houston's looked so bad offensively that people aren't even realizing that that's a top 25 defense. I mean, that defense just went on the road into TCU and held that until TCU to 19 points. Pretty sure the highest scoring team in college football. Held them to 19 points, won the game outright. This Houston defense is official. They saw Tennessee at Auburn. Tulane's defensive front is even greatly improved this year. So if we're talking about the Oklahoma offense, and look, it's bad. I'm not making excuses for them. I'm just saying these advanced metrics still have Oklahoma as a decent offense because they played a lot of really tough defenses. That's all I'm saying. Obviously, as I'm sure you know, we saw a quarterback change here. Passing attack really wasn't working with Jackson Arnold. He started the first 4 games of the year, just 171.3 passing yards per game, 5.48 yards per attempt is bad. 33.1% success rate per dropback. No question, this passing attack was not working with Jackson Arnold. So is it working with Hawkins? I mean, he made some plays at the tail end of that Tennessee game and kind of in garbage time last week against Auburn. I mean, they won. He made some plays. I wouldn't say it was good. He averaged 10.7 yards per pass attempt, but just a 35.3 success rate per dropback. So that's not very good, but you know what? His first start, they won. They beat an Auburn team that isn't terrible. Auburn's not practical joke bad, so let's give him some credit. He's definitely going to have his hands full here, though, because Texas defensively is not a joke. They're actually second in the country in yards per play allowed, 7th in success rate, 2nd in PPA. Look at their numbers against the pass. 1st in yards per pass attempt allowed, 4th in success rate per dropback, 3rd in effective pass. Nobody's been able to throw the ball on this Texas defense so far this year. Pass rush numbers look great for Texas, 9th in pass rush grade, 12th in sack rate, 54th in pressure rate, so not generating a ton of consistent pressure, but when they do, they're getting the quarterback to the ground. So even though we have seen Hawkins make a few plays through the air, I don't think we can count on it being here against Texas. He should be in some trouble in terms of throwing the ball. Now, what about Oklahoma trying to run the ball here? I mean, it doesn't look great. Texas has played great defense against the run this year. They're allowing just 3.18 yards per carry, 36% success rate. Oklahoma on the ground, as I'm sure you've heard, has been pretty bad. Just 3.69 yards per carry as a team, 33.7% success rate on the ground. Not really what we're acclimated to seeing here from Oklahoma. I will say, though, and I mentioned this before, they've seen some really tough defenses. I mean, Houston, Tennessee, and Auburn, if you isolate those 3 games, just 2.6 yards per carry, 26% success rate, 81.3 rushing yards per game in those 3. In their other 2 games, they actually were able to run the ball. Tulane and Temple, almost 5 yards per carry, 201 rushing yards per game, 42.7% success rate. Now, I know Tulane and Temple, certainly not comparable to Texas. Texas belongs in a conversation with those other 3 defenses. But the reason I'm bringing this up, there's a consensus that Oklahoma has no run game whatsoever. That's not really the case. I mean, they've played 3 really tough defenses out of their 5 games. Again, I'm not making excuses for Oklahoma here. I'm just saying the raw data might be a little skewed based on the fact that they've played 3 top 25 defenses already. And we talked about how Hawkins is going to struggle to make plays through the air against this elite Texas pass defense. But what about on the ground? What about with his legs? Last week against a good Auburn defense, if you exclude the sacks, he lost 7 yards via sacks. 76 yards on the ground, 6.3 yards per carry, and a rushing touchdown. Texas last week against Mississippi State, if you exclude the stats, Van Buren was able to make plays with his legs, 33 yards and a rushing touchdown. I mean, we're grasping at straws here. I'm just saying, I don't think it's crazy to say Hawkins is able to make some plays with his legs here. So maybe there's a path to Oklahoma getting the run game going here. The question is that enough to take the 14.5 points? I'm not sure. I think on paper, Texas has looked 2 touchdowns or more better than Oklahoma, but I don't know how you lay 14.5 points in this game, in this rivalry game. You know Venables has something cooked up for this game, some kind of play that's going to catch Sark off guard here. These games are always wild. I mean, last year, Texas was favored by, I think it was 6. Oklahoma won that game outright. It was crazy back and forth. So, I mean, there's just no way in hell I'm laying 14.5 points in the Red River rivalry. I don't care how much better Texas has looked than Oklahoma this year. They've looked substantially better. But again, this is the Red River rivalry, and we're going to see Oklahoma's best fastball along with some trick plays thrown in there. I think Hawkins is able to make some plays with his legs. Quinn Ewers coming back from injury to immediately play the toughest defense Texas has seen so far this year. There's just no way I can lay 14.5. So, look, if you're on Texas, I get it. They've looked 14.5 points better than Oklahoma, but this game is usually pretty crazy. So, give me Oklahoma plus 14.5. I wouldn't even be mad if you take a swing on the money line here. Like I said, this game's wild. If you want to see all the bets I currently have open, head over to KyleKirms.com and click on Open Bets. Disclaimer, I've been ice cold in college football, so please, if you're tail responsibly. But yeah, you'll see all my open bets there along with everyone else on the staff. Also, if you sign up to Sauce Network Plus, it comes with access to the Discord, and you can participate in the weekly betting league. $150 cash, and one of these trophies go to the winner every single week. So if you're interested, head over to the website and sign up. Let's have ourselves a good college football week 7. I need one, man. This sport has been killing me. Hopefully that turns around. Live show Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time up to kickoff. NFL show Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time up to kickoff. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. Let's have a good one, man. Please bet responsibly. Later.